All right, everyone, welcome back into the channel. After that very disappointing loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers yesterday, 34-20, really showcasing this Joe Barry defense. I wish the video I was making right now was the firing of Joe Barry, but as of right now, it has not happened yet, and who knows if it will. So in today's video, we're going to actually go over the Packers' current playoff odds. And you might be thinking, playoffs?
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game. Another game.
But yes, there still is a chance that the Packers make the playoffs, and a pretty high one if they do indeed win out. And I know that seems like a tall task right now, winning out, right? We just lost to the Giants and the Buccaneers. You know, we should be looking at this upcoming game against the Panthers and maybe even worrying a little bit that Bryce Young is going to be the next NFC Offensive Player of the Week so long Joe Barry is our defensive coordinator. I mean, yesterday, Baker Mayfield was the first ever quarterback to have a perfect passer rating, opposing quarterback to have a perfect passer rating in Lambeau Field. So I understand why some of you may be completely writing off the chance at playoffs, but I have seen many crazy things happen in the NFL in my time, and that doesn't write out the fact that the Packers could very well win out. You know, maybe they fire Joe Barry later today, you know, new blood, they win out, make it into the playoffs. So long the Green Bay Packers are, you know, able to make the playoffs statistically, I'm going to make a video on it and show you guys the odds. If that sort of thing does interest you, go down, click the like button, and subscribe if you haven't already. Everything Green Bay Packers right here on this channel. All right, so without further ado, let's bring up the screen, and you'll see the Packers' current playoff odds at 26%. Last week, I think it was at around 50%. Some had it at 49%, some had it at 51%. So it's almost cut in half from the loss to the Buccaneers. And if you watched my video last week, you know, I considered the Buccaneers a must-win just based off the Packers, you know, still controlling their own destiny. But I also said, you know, they can lose another game. I wanted them to beat the Buccaneers, and it would give them, you know, a lot better of a chance right now, obviously, but it's not the end of the world if they did lose another game. Now, with 3 games left and losing that game, now it's kind of like, yeah, you definitely can't lose another game. So the Packers in week 16 at Carolina. Like I said in every other video, if you lose to the Panthers, I mean, you're going to be pretty much eliminated anyways, and you don't deserve to be in the playoffs at that point as well. Then week 17 at Vikings. Who will their quarterback be? Not really sure. You know, these 3 games are very winnable, and I hate to say that. And it hurts me to say that because I saw the last 2 games being very winnable as well. But, you know, week 17 at Vikings and then finishing at week 18 versus the Bears, both teams that lost last week as well. So sitting at 26%, of course, we're going to look at it, what it looks like if the Packers were to win out. And this is not figuring any of the other games in the future, as well as the game tonight, Seattle versus Eagles, which does play a factor. So if the Green Bay Packers win out, they're at 97% chance. Now, that's not 100, so that means a couple things do have to go the Packers' way because the Packers will be 9-8 at that point, and other teams likely will also be 9-8. Now, just to show you guys, say if the Packers were to lose another game, say to the Vikings, then they're down to like 13%. Say if they were to lose to the Bears, it's slightly higher, but still very low, like a 30%. So that means it would heavily involve what other teams or what happens to other teams. And if they were to lose the Panthers, actually higher than the other two, it'd still be at 43%. But again, that would heavily involve other teams. And if they lose to the Panthers, right, like they're not a playoff team. A lot of people would argue right now they're not a playoff team. So 100% if they lose to the Panthers, that's the case. So right now, when you look at the standings around the NFC, the Giants 5-9. Like I said, if the Packers lose a game, they're going to be pretty much out. So you don't really have to worry about the Giants at all. Vikings 7-7. You know, the Packers play the Vikings, so if they beat them, I believe then they do have the tiebreaker over them. So as long as the Packers handle business this week and next week, you really don't have to worry about the Vikings. Now, the Saints 7-7. You want them to lose a game. The Packers have the tiebreaker over them. The Falcons 6-8. You probably want them to lose a game as well because they have the tiebreaker over us. You want the Buccaneers at this rate to just win the division because they have the tiebreaker over us. They're a game ahead of the Falcons, who also have a tiebreaker over us. Then you have the Rams at 7-7. You want them to lose a game. We have the tiebreaker over the Rams. You have the Seattle Seahawks at 6-7. You want them to lose, a couple games here. But first, we're going to take a second to talk about today's video sponsor, BetUS, who's been my channel sponsor this entire NFL season. And on BetUS, with my link down in the description, you can get a 125% deposit match up to $2,500. So if you deposit $100, then you'll have $225 to play around with. And right now on BetUS, you can bet on the Green Bay Packers to make the playoffs. Since they're about 25% chance to make the playoffs, the money line for the Packers to make the playoffs is $250. So say if you were to throw $50 on that, your win and payout would be $125, which I will place. I know I'm a madman, but I think the Packers can go 3-0. I'm a very optimistic person. They have many other betting options, such as betting on the NFL draft in 2024 once that gets closer, NFL season awards such as rookies or MVP. You can even bet on the Super Bowl winner. I think I placed a bet on the Green Bay Packers last week. I know, pretty much a donation, but right now they're actually at $15,000 to make the Super Bowl, or to win the Super Bowl, should I say. So guys, definitely head over to BetUS and check all that it has to offer in terms of sports betting. There's a casino, there's all different types of sports, really cool prop betting you can do as well that I do every week personally. And like I said, link down in the description to get a 125% deposit match on BetUS. So since it is Monday, there is one more game to be played tonight. That's Eagles at Seahawks. I'm not sure if Jalen Hurts is going to play, but you want the Eagles to win here. As you see, if the Seahawks win, it drops down to 20%. And if the Eagles win, it raises up to, I think it's going to put us actually at 32% there. So raises up a decent bit. Then heading into Week 16, the Packers play the Panthers at 1 o'clock. Obviously, you want them to win. And like I said before, you kind of want the Rams to lose a game, but you also want the Saints to lose a game. So that matchup doesn't matter too much. Technically speaking, statistical standpoint, the Saints winning this would help the Packers more. Then you have the Lions playing the Vikings. You want the Lions to win. Like I said, it doesn't really matter about the Vikings if we beat them in Week 17 anyways, but, just root against the Vikings. Now, down here, it shows a little bit better of an odds if the Eagles beat the Giants. Like I said, you don't really have to worry about the Giants. That's only if the Packers, say, drop another game, which at that point, like I said, it's pretty much over. So then Week 17, the Packers do play the Vikings New Year's Eve, Sunday Night Football. So all these other games are going to happen before this. You want the Bears to beat the Falcons at this rate, and then you want the Giants to beat the Rams. So then you have the Steelers at Seahawks. Again, you want the Seahawks to lose, so you want the Steelers to win this game. They just announced Mason Rudolph's going to be their quarterback for Week 16, so Week 17, who knows it's going to be, but likely the Steelers are going to lose this game. So I'm just going to go ahead and select the Seahawks to win that game. Then you have the Packers at Vikings, Week 17. You obviously want the Packers to win that game. Then they're up to about a 77% chance. Then coming down to Week 18, the Packers play the Bears at home. If they win that, they're pretty much in the playoffs at 9-8. Right now, an NFC team at 9-8 probably makes the playoffs, and that's the crazy thing about it, right? After yesterday, a lot of people are probably writing off the playoffs completely, but a 9-8 team is very capable to make the playoffs, and that's with the Seattle Seahawks losing once, the Rams losing once, and that's pretty much it. That's really all that we need. So if it goes down like this, heading into Week 18, the Packers, to get to the playoffs, playing the Bears at Lambeau. Yeah, I know, eerily similar as last year, win and you're in against the Lions, and it didn't happen. And maybe that could happen again this year. We'll see when we cross that road. But that could be the case. We'll know at that point, because then Week 16, Week 17 will have already happened, and we'll have a clear picture. But right now, like I said, the Packers winning out, it gives them a very high chance.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
The odds are that the Seahawks will lose a game and the Rams will lose a game. The odds are. They're not also going to win out if the Packers win out. But obviously that could happen as well, but they have other tough opponents. The Rams play the Saints this week. The Saints should be able to win that game. Then they have the Giants, so not huge there. But Week 18, they do play the 49ers. Say if they were to go 2-0, then likely they would lose the 49ers unless they were playing, they benched players because they're the first seed. I feel like the 49ers backups would probably still beat the Rams. But then for the Seattle Seahawks, they obviously have the Eagles tonight. Then they have the Titans in Week 16, and they're playing a lot better right now. Then in Week 17, they have the Steelers. The Seattle Seahawks should win that game by all means. And then Week 18, the Cardinals. So you're looking for Seattle to lose this week against the Eagles tonight or the Titans next week. So overall, the Packers actually have above a 95% chance to make the playoffs if they win out, and they pretty much just need a couple games to go their way. Like I said, I've seen a lot crazier happen, and it's not out of the water yet. The Packers still can make the playoffs. Now, a lot of changes need to happen. Not only do the Packers need to go 3-0, changes need to happen, right? This defense needs to play better. This offense is promising with all their young talent. Christian Watson should return soon. Musgrave may return soon. Who even knows what's going on with Jair Alexander? Is he boycotting Joe Barry? I don't blame him. He may be. I'm not sure. But, if the Packers... I don't really know the course of action for them, right? If they fire Joe Barry right now, who's going to stand up as DC interim? Is it going to be Jerry Montgomery? Not really sure. I hope it happens. I want it to happen. I think it would light a fire under this team that maybe allows them to go 3-0, right? Like, you have teams way better than the Packers firing coaches, or teams with higher records. The Eagles demoting their defensive coordinator. There's things that happen around the league where it's like, why do they still have Joe Barry here? But at the end of the day, there still is a chance. But that about does it for this video. I appreciate you guys coming by. If you did enjoy this, please leave a like down below. It supports my channel a ton. But I'll catch you on the next one, and as always, go Pack Go.